Hi everyone. In this video, we will discuss passage number 67 of the book RC 99 by Aristotle Prep. Okay, so let's take a quick look at what the passage actually is talking about, and then we will go to the questions. Before we start with the passage, this is a brief glossary of the unique words that have been used in the passage. So just in case you are not aware of these meanings, I believe that these words are crucial to understanding what the passage is talking about. So I would recommend going through the passage at this stage here and take the help of this glossary in trying to improve your understanding of it. You may pause this video at this stage, read the passage, then we will go to the explanation and one by one we'll look at the questions. Okay, so coming to the passage, the narrative is actually very straightforward. There isn't a lot being spoken about here. The narrative is that regarding free speech, rather not even free speech, regarding extremist speech. Now, what is meant by extremist? We saw in that glossary right now. It means a person who is who holds a lot of very extreme thoughts, you know, generally very violent or very aggressive towards people holding thoughts other than his or opposite to his. As such, we are expected to be tolerant individuals that if anybody holds views or thoughts which are not in sync with yours, which are not agreeing with you, we are expected to hold an okayish approach to them. You're not expected to be aggressive with them. But extremist guys, they will resort to violence or very, very inhuman aggression in such cases. So people who engage in such kind of speech is called as extremist speech, wherein you spew a lot of hatred or anger or undesirable action against somebody or maybe even a community at large. So regarding extremist speech, there is a paradox of tolerance. Okay, what does it say? It says that if you tolerate such guys, then it will lead to a lot of intolerance in the society. और अगर आप इस बारे में सोचो तो ये सही भी लगता है that if you let guys like this make random open speeches here and there, then it will lead to a lot of uncertainty, uncertain, intolerant scenario in the society, right? So regarding that, we have two different situations before us. The author says that as far as Western European countries are concerned, so these guys have taken this consideration in mind and have banned extremist speech. Okay. But over here in the United States, the approach is different. In United States, it is perceived that all kinds of speech have to be allowed. Okay. Speech is entitled to greater tolerance compared to any other thing in society. So that is why American society or American legal system is open to a very broad range of speech, even allowing extremist speech in the ecosystem. So a fairly different approach to extremist speech in Europe and America. Now, coming to the different models, the different thought process with which extremist speech is looked at, that the author has started to explain over here. Now, coming to the classical model. So what does classical model say? That if you have a decent democratic self-government in place, you need to have the freedom, you need to allow people to make speeches which might seem radical in nature. Radical here means extremist in nature. Okay. As far as the issue is political in nature, okay, as far as it is a political speech, this model says you have to allow that speech to happen and then leave it to the citizens कि वो लोग decide करेंगे इस views का करना क्या है. Just allow this extremist views, this extremist speech to go out in the society. You cannot conceal them, you cannot hide them, you cannot suppress them. Okay, let it reach the public. So this is the approach taken by the classical model. Then comes the fortress model, which is a bit dicey in its approach. The narrative given here over here in this passage might have tripped you a bit about what it actually means. The explanation is actually fairly straightforward. The classical model has a sort of a proactive approach with respect to free speech, with respect to extremist speech. It's like extremist speech को भी चलने दो और normal जो बोलते हैं लोग हर रोज की भाषा वो भी चलने ही दो, normal है वो तो. But fortress model takes a negative view of society. It takes a negative view of the common man. What does it say? That if you leave a society to its own ways and means, तो उसमें क्या होगा? There will be a very strong tendency in the government or even a majority of the people to do what? to suppress other people's speech. So fortress model says, let's say that Gaurav, me will try to, suppress you, आपका speech. I will try to force you to conform, to follow, to accept my beliefs. So ऐसे case में, given this tendency of me and by extrapolation of a lot of people, it becomes necessary कि आप extremist speech को भी space दे दो. क्योंकि अगर आपने नहीं दी, तो then people like me will come on the scene and anyway dominate the society. So the thought process here is very, very out of the box. We could say that these are saying in the fortress model, they say that because of this tendency of people to impose their views on other, so that is why they want non-conforming views as a way to protect speech by providing a broad buffer zone. Meaning कि बोलने दो, एक्सट्रीमिस्ट स्पीच होती है सोसाइटी में, होने दो, क्योंकि अगर आप होने नहीं दोगे तो individuals like me will come on the scene anyway and start suppressing people. So let such non-conforming views, extremist views, be allowed to happen in the society. So that is the basic approach of the two models. Classical models doesn't say कि society by default खराब है वगैरह वगैरह. It just says let everything happen. While the fortress model says कि आप explicitly allow नहीं करोगे extremist speech, तो anyway कोई तो इंसान आके खुद का दादागिरी शुरू कर देगा. Okay, so that's it. That's the narrative. There is hardly anything more written anywhere. And with that in mind, let's go and take a look at the question. Okay, so coming to the question, we are expected to weaken a particular statement given in the passage. What do we have to weaken? The paradox of tolerance, which is given over here in the first opening lines. I'll point it out to you. This is mentioned, paradox of tolerance. Okay, what does it say? That you should not allow extreme speech, radical speech in society. Because if you allow such intolerant people, if you allow such extremist people in society, that will lead to intolerance overall. Okay, so sounds a bit trippy over here, a lot of tolerance going on here. तो मीनिंग उसका यही है कि अगर आप सहन करते गए ऐसे intolerant लोगों को, तो ओवरऑल आपकी सोसाइटी ही intolerant बन जाएगी, which is wrong. We don't want that. So as a way out, what this paradox recommends is, what universal declaration recommends is कि आप ऐसे intolerant लोगों को सही समय पर दबा दो, उनको extremist speech मत करने दो, क्योंकि वो सोसाइटी को खराब कर देंगे. That is the paradox of intolerance. Okay, with that I hope you have understood that it recommends a stoppage to extremist speech, a stoppage to extreme elements, radical elements in society. Now we have to weaken this. Okay, so which option will weaken it? You have to give a scenario जहां पर you have people who are able to express extremist speech, who are able to make radical speeches, and yet the society is working normally. कुछ बड़ा गलत कुछ भी नहीं हुआ है वहां पे. ठीक है, so that is conclusively given in option D. Some place, Islandia, fictional place, it has had a stable democratic government for a lot of time, even though it never banned extremist people. Okay, so option D is putting before you a scenario where extremism as well as democracy both are going hand in hand, which the paradox of tolerance did not think possible. Okay, going to take a look at the other options quickly. What does the other option say? Option A is saying that Islandia का government क्या करना चाहता है? It has decided to ban extreme political group in order to protect democratic political system. So this is what actually the paradox of tolerance is recommending. This is what this universal declaration is actually all recommending. So it will not weaken, it is actually supporting. So not the answer. Option B is going off on a tangential path. It is saying that Islandia, this country, it has a non-democratic government, and at the same time it has suppressed extreme political groups. तो यहाँ पर तो एक भी अच्छी चीज नहीं हो रही है, एक भी फायदा वाली बात तो हो ही नहीं रही है. एक्सट्रीमिस्ट लोग भी कुछ बोल नहीं पा रहे और डेमोक्रेटिक गवर्नमेंट भी नहीं है. ओके, इट्स लाइक नॉट हैविंग एनीथिंग decent over there. So not supporting at all. Paradox of tolerance desires good democratic government in place. So that is why this gets kicked out. Okay. Third, the government became democratic only after these extremist political groups they were banned. This is strongly supporting the paradox of tolerance. कि अच्छा देखो, जब वो बैंड नहीं थे तब डेमोक्रेटिक थी नहीं वो कंट्री, तब बहुत इंटॉलरेंट बन चुकी थी. बट द मोमेंट वी बैन दिस ग्रुप्स, द कंट्री बिकेम डेमोक्रेटिक. लुक, दैट बैनिंग इज so good, so strongly recommended. So this is actually supporting the paradox of tolerance and hence kicked out. And E is again very random. It has tried and failed repeatedly to have a stable government. Doesn't make any sense. Okay, the angle of speech, the angle of extremism वगैरह कहीं पर भी कुछ दिया नहीं है. So that is why option D becomes the very safe, clear-cut answer. Okay. So with this, I hope the first question is clear to you. Let's move on to the second one. Okay. So coming to the second question, what does it tell us? All of the following actions have been put forth by one or another group in this country as a value to a society. So which actions will violate a principle as far as what? As far as the classical model of free speech is concerned. The classical model is given over here in the third para. So यहाँ पर आपको एक टर्म बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है, ध्यान में रखना है. द पॉलिटिकल स्पीच रिलेटेड चल रहा है आपका क्लासिकल मॉडल. What does classical model say? कि as long as the context of discussion is political, so you have to allow all kinds of speech being made. Normal, radical, extremist, everything. You have to trust the people to make sense of it. Okay. If the views being expressed are something which affect the public at large, then you cannot stop those views. But ये बात ध्यान में रखना है, the context is political, not social, not private property, not company related, not business related, not economy related. ठीक है. So that is why one by one we can throw out options because they are not fitting the context of the classical model of the political context. Okay. What does option E say? Banning an individual for abusing his parents. So this is a very strongly social context. So this classical model does not bother with this, gets kicked out. Okay. Option D is regarding business वाला scenario, business या फिर consumer rights or consumer relations, that an individual gets banned because he was making false statements about a company. So again, not the context of this classical model. Yes, option C has to be your answer. Why so? Because it is saying that an individual gets banned because he was claiming that the government should be voted out of existence. This is a strictly political context, and classical model says allow people to make such statements. You cannot stop them. Hence, this will violate the principle of classical model because you are banning this guy. Okay? That's why it is the answer. Option B also, A and B also will not be the answer for the reasons that we discussed previously. They are all social in context and hence not falling in the purview of classical model. Okay. So with this, I hope the second question was easily understandable here. You did not need to think a lot or read too much into the lines. This writing over here, political speech, only protect political speech. बस ये समझ गया आपको, आपका काम is done. Okay. Sorry. So with this, let's go to the third and the last question. Let's take a look at what does it have to say. Okay, a question on fortress model. Okay. What is the question asking? Fortress model is built on a foundation of pessimism, blah blah blah. मतलब कि सोसाइटी को ये मॉडल ना थोड़ा सा शक की नजर से देखता है कि लोग बाय डिफॉल्ट ना अच्छे नहीं है. ये दादागिरी के जोन में चले जाएंगे। तो इन ऑर्डर टू प्रिवेंट दैट फ्रॉम हैपनिंग, रेडिकल स्पीच चलने दो सोसाइटी में, एक्सट्रीमिस्ट स्पीच चलने दो। So based on this information, each of the following statements is held by somebody who believes in the fortress model, except, मतलब कि 4 ऑप्शंस आपको ऐसे मिलेंगे जो ये फोर्ट्रेस मॉडल के साथ राजी है, एक ऑप्शन ऐसा मिलेगा जो इस फोर्ट्रेस मॉडल के साथ राजी नहीं है। तो जो राजी नहीं है वो आपका आंसर है। ठीक है, चलो लेट्स गो वन बाय वन थ्रू द ऑप्शंस। एज इज माय हैबिट, लेट्स स्टार्ट फ्रॉम ऑप्शन ई। ओके, government should ensure that extremist speech, as long as it is political, it should be protected. Yes, it is saying that government should allow extremist speech to happen. Okay, so option E is in line with the fortress model. So it agrees with fortress model. Okay, so it won't be the answer. Option D has a double negation playing over here. It has the word unlikely and unless. So actually, options like this become a bit tricky to break down. I'll tell you how to crack them up properly. Unlikely को आप लिखो not likely. Pardon the mess happening over here on the screen. Please try to focus on whatever is written by my pen. Okay. Then unlikely को crack करने का तरीका कैसा होता है? Unlikely effectively means this: if not. Okay. So you have two negatives going on over here, not and not. English says that two negatives make a positive. So you can afford to throw them out, both of them together. And now try to read the option. I'll try to read it for you. Please pay close attention to how the meaning turns out to be. The government is likely to permit political speech that it finds objectionable. Okay, so ऐसा कोई political speech हो रहा है which the government does not like, which the government says अरे यार मुंह बंद करो ना तुम्हारा, but it will allow it to happen. It is likely to permit such kind of speech. Why? If the law prevents it from curbing political speech. मतलब कि अगर कानून बन चुका है जो सरकार को रोकता है from stopping people making speeches, तो फिर सरकार बोलेगी हाँ ठीक है कर लो यार आप लोग स्पीच, I'll allow you even though I don't like it. ये है ऑप्शन डी का मीनिंग. So all in all, what does option D mean? That people are free to make speeches even if the government does not like it, even if the government finds it objectionable. So yes, that is what the fortress model recommends. कि ऐसा होने दो, चलने दो, ऐसा जरूरी है. So that is why option D also is in agreement with the fortress model and hence not the answer, because we are searching for what? Except. ठीक है, चलो. Option C, a ban on extremist speech raises the probability that more other important political speech will also be banned. Yes, this is straightforward, written over here in the closing lines of the author, closing lines of the passage. It's one and the same thing, that you have to protect extremist speech, वरना आप आज के तारीख में तो आप extremist speech दबाने जाओगे, फिर आपका दादागिरी एंगल और भी लोगों को दबाने को कोशिश करेगा, तो ऐसे करते करते एक दिन आ जाएगा where you will even suppress important political speech. That is what the fortress model says. And because of that, it wants you to prevent from doing any kind of dadagiri right from the start. Okay? Slightly twisted line of thinking, but okay. Okay. Might be legit. We are not social experts here. Anyway, moving on. Option B. Freedom of political speech is necessary in order to protect democratic government. Yes, fortress model says this. होने दो, speeches चलने दो. Otherwise, people will end up being intolerant and दादागिरी. तो ये भी आंसर नहीं बन सकता है. आंसर बनेगा आपका ऑप्शन ए. Why so? What does it say? Extremist political speech should be prohibited, should be banned, should be stopped. क्योंकि ये सरकार को धोखा देता है. No way. Going exact opposite to fortress model. Fortress model is like होने दो extremist speech, A is saying मत करो. Exact opposite does not fall, and hence हमारा था आंसर है ये, because we are searching for except वाला line. Okay. So once again, very straightforward. The passage did not have any heavy complications there. basic messaging you had to understand, and all the three questions end up getting solved by themselves. Okay. So I hope you liked the video. Thank you for your time. I'll see you in the next one.